Man, this is so deep. The selfish core that everybody has, so deep. The self-centeredness, selfishness, living in my own individual world. I'm not interested in you unless you can somehow contribute to my projections and desires that I have in this world. This is, everybody's infected with this. I remember, I like when I see sometimes the videos, it's touching, where there's just an instinctual sense of compassion. It's grace. Grace is doing it, working through the person's mind, impressing the mind with certain vibrations, certain inner feeling to do something, not do something. But there was a old lady, I don't know what country it was in, but she's like trying to cross the road. The cars are like speeding by. Nobody's stopping. She's like trying, but they're just not stopping because they got somewhere to go. They got to get where they're getting to. The next car is stopped. My life's more important. The next car, maybe his life isn't so important. So everybody's thinking that way, and they just keep going. Watch this, though. And the bikers came. See, God used some good actors for this role. Badass biker gang. They stop traffic. They line their bikes up on both sides of the highway, both lanes. All right, big dude gets out, tells the lady, "Come on, I'll take care of it." Brings her across the street. Now, I've seen the opposite videos too. This was in China. There was I don't know how the kid got there, but it was like a baby, 2 years old or something. He's laying in the road, and cars are running over it, ran over it a few times. People are walking down the sidewalk, they notice it. Go back to their phone. There was a camera that showed all that. Imagine, you know how cut off you gotta be, how unconscious to just instinctually do that? This is talk about sleep. I mean, deep sleep. They're focused on going to get what they really want to get. Now, so this is a good test. What do I want to say first? This goes back to St. Francis' prayer. Love instead of be loved. How can I help instead of thinking how I can be helped? He flips this, he knew this selfish core. And by the power of grace in his sadhana, he transcended it, and this was the outpouring of his state when he transcended it. Have compassion, don't worry about if they have compassion for you, understand rather than be understood, etc. The test. Next time you go into an appointment, doctor appointment, in any kind of an appointment, going to make money, that's a big deal. So if you're going to make money, or you have an appointment to go see your girlfriend, then you're on your way there, and then you see somebody struggling, right? They're struggling. Innocent struggle. It's not, there's different, there's homeless people who are also very selfish. You can feel the vibration. But let's say the person has, you feel a genuine pull, you can just see, they're being, something in you wants to help. Okay, this is the point. Some higher part in you wants to help them. But the lower ego selfish part wants to get to this meeting so that it can get what it wants to get. What are you going to do? Are you going to pass that test? See, most people will fail that test. I remember many times in my life where it was so evident I should have stopped what I was doing to help with this person. It's really, is it that important what I'm going to do? Do I really? But yeah, it was, because of this selfish core. This selfish core transcending this, being of service when maybe you don't feel good, or when you're doing something that you think's important. being of service in those situations, this will accelerate your self-realization more than if you just do your normal habitual yoga meditation practice every morning and evening. This is the real deal stuff. This is game day. This is when it's time to apply the principles that you've so-called imagining that you're learning via your spiritual practice. It's easy just to sit alone and think you're spiritual, or be in a spiritual group with a bunch of parrots talking and think, oh yeah, I'm pretty spiritual. No, you got to be in the grind when it happens. Be in the grind. Read the Bhagavad Gita, because the war that took place, I'm gonna have to stop the video because these guys. Okay, there we go. Compassion, right? I'm thinking they should have compassion that they see I'm making a video, but unconscious. They don't care. They care about fishing right now. That's what they want to do. They want to fish. So, do I have the power to have compassion for that, or does my selfishness want to tell them hey, look, dumbass, you see me sitting here? No. Now, is that feeling there? I'm glad this happened in real time. Actually, this is good. Right? This is a real demonstration. Now, let's make it more dicey, though. If I was alone and wasn't talking, maybe the motive, maybe the fact that I know I'm talking to you, something in me wants to, it gives me more strength and power to act right? Because I want my audience to see, hey, man, I got it. I'm spiritual. Is that in there? See, this is such a good example of self-honesty and introspection. I would be lying if I said that didn't play a part. Of course that's there somewhere. Of course. Knowing that you're watching me, it does give me some strength and power to step into this higher role. What am I going to do? Lie? Now, is that a problem? That's a factor? Do I think, oh, well, maybe I'm not spiritual now then because those things are factors? No, this is the play of life. We can't take ourselves personal. Even if I would have said something kind of slanderish or character assassinative, am I gonna beat myself up? Am I gonna say am I going to let my ego try to say oh, you're not spiritual, man? Look what you did. Am I going to feel shame about it? No, I won't. Why? Because this is the human self. I'm not this human self. The human self, though, is in a steady progression toward perfection, but it'll never get there. I understand that. I understand as long as you have a human body and a human mind in this virtual reality equipment, you're going to make mistakes and fall short. What if I'd been water fasting for, I don't know, a couple days, and maybe I didn't sleep much at night, and then I came here, and then I'm in this situation. I might react a little more then. The emotion might get the best of me. I don't know. I'm not going to shoot anybody, but you see what I mean? Do you have space for yourself to do that? This is an important, super important spiritual principle. And most won't admit it. They won't admit this stuff. And here's the other thing. This is how spirituality hides again. I've talked before about the passive-aggressive people. Passive-aggressive people, they wouldn't say anything. Never. Why? Because they're passive-aggressive. They'll think it, they'll feel something in their stomach, but they won't react on it. Then the ego will say, oh, man, you're spiritual. You didn't act. You wanted to act, though. Can you admit that you wanted to act, but you just didn't have the balls to act? This is another important self-honesty. And so the ego will work the other way if you have fire in you, and it's your tendency to react, and then you don't react. Then the ego is going to beat you up and say, oh, man, you should have been more spiritual. Depending on your character type and temperament will determine how the ego talks to you. It's going to tell you the opposite. This is training. This is training. The ego's showing you where you're holding on to something, where you're holding on to self-will and delusion. Do you have the level of self-honesty to catch it, though? I love deep self-honesty. Almost nobody's honest with themselves, not on the deepest level. All right, did I touch on everything? So I'm glad we segued a little bit, because that was important, man. That could only happen in a real-time, God-ordained, spontaneous situation. So let me know if you got something from that. I like it. I'm glad they were here. I'm glad they did that now. I'm like, I wish they'd do it again. Now they're not doing it. They got it. I'm like, come do it again, man. All right, see you.